going to be doing a subscriber request. I did a video on Mac Jones. I think it was Monday, so it was the day after the Dallas game. And I pointed out that basically the Patriots have failed to recognize their situation for the most part, or they weren't able to do it quick enough, fast enough. Maybe it's also insight of how they view Mac Jones, but the Patriots kind of failed to either recognize that Mac Jones can't win games for them, and I'll get into that in just a second, or that they needed to do what they did, or what they did, or what they did, which is Hurts is an okay quarterback, but you gave him all the talent in the world. You gave this guy literally has all pro around him all the time at all his offensive positions. Same thing here. Why aren't they doing it? Now, I understand the Patriots are primarily a defensive team, but so are they. So are they. And they're not horrendous on defense. They're actually pretty good. So what are we talking about here? Right? The Patriots are really good on defense. I think it's constructed very well, but the offense is flabbergasting. I don't know. And yet, I think everybody would say Mac doesn't have a strong arm. I've gone over that I don't know how many times. I've broke down his tape several times. I've given you reasons why other quarterbacks do it better. And it's not all in terms of just God-given talent in the arm area. It's the technique. The form is broken down. The body's just not as zippy and does not have the twitch that it's supposed to be, which can be something that's trained physically and with coaching can build up mechanics. Now, Mac does look good once in a while. So the question is there such a regression? Why is the regression so bad? Why isn't anybody stepping in, looking him in the face and saying, dude, you need to fix your form now. It's bad. And he has to know that. He has to know that. Right? Everybody should be aware that they realize that when, whatever profession they do, if they're the worst in the room, who's the best and why are they that much better than me? Right? So we have a problem here where Mac is either broken or we've literally topped out and we're just looking at somebody that when his best games and what he can do is what we saw prior to the Dallas game. And if that's a bad game, every quarterback's going to have kind of when the wheels come off and it looks really bad. But here's the problem. You had to pull Mac for that. He was not going to stop that himself because we have a problem. He can't make comebacks. He just doesn't have the legs or the arm to facilitate a play. He's not a playmaker. I forget who said it, but they said he's a distributor. That's a good way of putting it. He manages the offense and he delivers the ball to open receivers when the play works. But if the play's not there, or the receiver or tight end or whatever it's not working out, they've got good coverage on them, can Mac either throw the ball with enough oomph to get into the very small window that might be there, that only the receiver can catch the ball and not the corner? Or can he extend the play with his legs to potentially allow the wide receivers to get open? Or can Mac maybe just get those 4 or 5 yards to at least get something out of the play to make it third and manageable? All those things I just said, I would say no. So that made me, kind of go into the idea of hey, do we have to tank for Caleb Williams? And I'm going to say this right off the bat. I put that in there because I want people to realize you can't really tank for Caleb Williams unless there's 2 problems. One, you basically have to go 0 or 1 win for the season. The Bears have that basically all wrapped up. Now, the other issue is Caleb Williams does not have to declare for the NFL draft this year. He's making enough money in college that he doesn't need to. So if he doesn't like working for the Bears or the Raiders or whoever's going to be 0-1, 0 and whatever, or 1 win or 2 win, and they're going to be in the top 3 picks, he can just stay at USC. And I think Drake May, who's the other really great quarterback from UNC, I think he's got the same situation. So we have a major issue here where, for the NFL in general, which is, all this talk about being the race or the tank for Caleb Williams is an issue. Now, the Patriots, PFF has the Patriots at 7 right now. And I think that's fair. I mean, that's what it would be if they were to do it today. But I think them being here to like around 14, 15th pick, like what they had last year, would give you a shot at a lot of really great talent. And this to get to the point, which is the subscribers' request, which is, kind of what's the approach to this. Now, I did it at the back end of that video with Mac. I did several mock drafts, and it was to show you that this draft class is very deep across the board in almost every position. Some of them are not as good as not as deep as last year, like the tight end position. The edge isn't as deep, and the corners aren't as deep. But offensive tackle, be crazy deep comparatively very deep. Wide receiver is absurd. Running back is deep, not nearly as talented as the top as Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan was, but much better. Safety is night and day. There was barely any decent safeties last year. There's plenty of them this year. Linebacker in general is good. Guards are good. Centers are good. And quarterbacks is really good. Very deep, and obviously very, very, very clear top cream of the crop talent in there. So honestly, everything does favor the Patriots kind of going after a potentially dual, which is addressing possibly getting a better quarterback that might be able to start for you, right? So replacing Mac, but also not giving up on the fact that we should try to get some offensive talent and do something about this team. Can we do this? Is this possible? Now, some major concerns going into next season is the list of our free agents. So guys on the Patriots that will be up will be free agents at the end of the season. The big problem is these are positions that are not good right now for us, too. So let's just go through a few of these. Tight end, which is good for us, but we're going to lose all 3. Potentially. So we either have to sign them, which I'm assuming they'll sign Henry, maybe Gesicki, and Farrell Brown. Maybe we don't have to get any tight ends, right? Great. But that's 3 you do. So that's money. Offensive tackle, 2. One of them being Trent Brown. We need an offensive tackle. But then also, what happens if you have, just in general, we need to get one. Regardless if we keep all of the offensive tackles, we need to get somebody who can play. But then also, if you lose Trent Brown, I need 2. Wide receivers, there's Bourne. Technically, Ty Montgomery. Nixon's in there. Is there anybody else that I'm missing? Oh yeah, technically Slater. But at least one wide receiver to possibly replace. Then on top of that, you also just need to get better at wide receiver. Corners, you got 2 that you'd possibly need to replace next year. Running backs, at least 1, right? There's Zeke, and then you can argue Ty Montgomery. Is there anybody else in there that I'm forgetting? I'm sure there's somebody in there I forget. Safeties, Duggar. There's a problem. Edge, 1, possibly 2. You've got Jennings and then Uche. Now, Uche, I'm not entirely sold on. I know he had a great season last year, but I like to point this out about Uche. Last year was basically his first full season not being injured since basically high school. And he really only played like half the season anyway. Jennings would be a problem because Jennings is kind of like one of the few guys that can play, like he's an edge player, but he can also actually contribute to setting the edge and being contributions to stopping the run. He's not horrendous in coverage, whereas Judon and Uche are not very good out there. Mac Wilson, I don't even know if that guy plays anymore, but he's up for contract. Guard, Onwenu. One of the best, well, I mean, he didn't have a good game against the Cowboys, but arguably one of our better linemen. And then QB, I think Greer would be technically in there. And then is Zappy, yeah, he's restricted free agent. But anyway, we still need a quarterback, and if you have to replace Mac, actually, I mean, he would be there for another year, but still, you have to like start. You can't just. It's not good to be like one guy's walking away and your rookie has to be starting. So that's what, 3 tight ends, 2 offensive tackles, 2 to 4 wide receivers, a couple corners, 1 to like 2, 3 running backs, 1 or 2 safeties, a couple edge players / linebackers. Mac Wilson being a linebacker, a guard, and then 1 or 2 quarterbacks. So that's a lot more picks. I mean, a lot more positions of need than we have picks. So the draft actually needs to be good. It can't be throwaways. It needs to be things that we need. But maybe it is an opportunity to kind of hit the reset with our offensive weapons here. So let's start the draft, and then we can kind of discuss further. In general, this draft, like I said before, is incredibly deep. It's a combination of people being eligible, because you can have technically the juniors can be eligible. You have true seniors, you have redshirt seniors, and then you even have the like double redshirt senior with the COVID year. So there's a lot of guys coming out that some of them that are eligible, and then some of them that basically have to because their NCAA eligibility is done. So it's a very deep draft. So just putting some things in perspective, there'll be guys in the 4th round, day 3 of the draft, that probably last year might have gone late 2nd, early 3rd. Last year we had 7th round talent and tackles being drafted in the 3rd. That's not happening this year. So, all right, let's get into it. Bears are going to get 2 because they get the 1 from Carolina. I think, I don't know, we'll see how this starts to pan out. We'll see what happens here, these guys. It's probably in this area you're going to see a lot of jumbling, and probably the Patriots at some point making their way back up here, but we'll see. Let's just go with it, right? Now, what happened here? Caleb. Okay, they took Brock. Smart move. Chop Robinson. Okay, so that's giving us some really good options here. Now, let's go to quarterbacks and talk about replacing Mac again real quick. We would have to be 1 or 2 win seasons to be eligible for these 2 guys, right? Now, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., Riley Leonard. This is where PFF's ranking them, so that's where it's probably, it's PFF just does this. Like, they just put it in here. You might, Bo Nix might go to maybe here or something like that, right? But for the most part, that's where these guys are going to drop in. I think it's possible that you might see these guys being drafted in like the teens or in the 20s when it comes to the draft, because people are just trying to get some good quality quarterbacks to play on their team. But then also, like, these guys are all blue chips. Last year we had 7. We had about 7 guys in the first round last year in the draft. I would say for the most part there's a few guys I wouldn't, but you have at least a whole first round of blue chip talent this year. Like one of the best tackles in a long time. Same thing here. Awesome edge player would have been the first round last year. Would have blown off better than any of the wide receivers last year. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. is one of the best wide receivers to come out in a long time if he does. Keon Coleman being awesome. Like he would have been a top edge talent. Would have been first rounder. Would have been a first rounder. Would have been a first rounder. First rounder. One of the best safeties to come out in a long time. Maybe one could say where'd Kool-Aid go? Yeah, Kool-Aid's one of the best boundary corners he would have been a first rounder last year. Kalen King can play boundary and slot. Cooper DeJean's a good boundary plus safety. He'll probably be playing safety at first. So my point being is, you might actually get some of these quarterbacks. Let's go back to that real quick. These guys might actually make it well into the second round, even though they're first round talents. Look how many quarterbacks are here. I'd say this area, Jaden Daniels might improve. I like Joe Milton and Cam Ward better than most of these other guys. But I mean, 170? Yeah, he's probably a solid backup. He'll be a backup, probably backup. But Cam Ward and Joe Milton have potential to improve. Jane Daniels looks pretty good. Quinn Ewers is okay. His accuracy can be questionable. But these guys are all, like, I don't think Shador's coming out, but these guys can all be starting level quarterbacks in a year or so in the NFL. We can't even say that about, arguably 2 guys last year. So, the great part is, you go back, if you don't necessarily need a quarterback, right? Some of these teams that definitely might not need a quarterback, they might be looking at these other guys and be like, yeah, we might as well take them because there's plenty of these quarterbacks that we might be able to get next round. And so if you're the Patriots and say you were at 15 and all of a sudden these quarterbacks do go off the board earlier ahead of you, just take advantage of getting top level talent all the way. So there's no stress. There's no stress to be like, we have to get like a quarterback next year in the first round. You don't. If they're there, if you're obviously you interview and you just love the guy, am I gonna be pissed if they pick up like Michael Penix Jr. like with the hopefully not the 7th, but say like the 15th pick? I'm not gonna hate it at all. Maybe because they'll, show that we realize that there's a problem. But if this comes around and we're in 7th pick and Olu Fashanu or Latu's there, depending on the trade options, I'm gonna go with Olu. I like Joe Wall a little better right now, but let's just go with Olu for arguments here. Now, we need defensive tackles. I didn't mention that as a need in terms of free agency, but man, is our interior defensive line, like, it's not as obvious probably to some people, but man, it's frustrating to me to watch it. They get nothing out of those guys sometimes. Think about how the other teams are beating us. We need to be doing that to them. We're worried about defensive tackles. The first few games of the season have been nothing about concerns except for defensive tackles. The Eagles, the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Dallas. Now, yeah, there's some technically edge players in there, but the pressure's coming from the interior. Yeah, they're getting around the edge once in a while, but that's going to happen to any team. The problem is the glaring issue for us is coming right up the middle. We need to do that to other teams because if you're getting the middle, you're collapsing the pocket vertically, right? So that forces the QB to be flushed out, possibly into another edge rusher. So maybe getting a Mason Smith is not crazy. Who's essentially a better Barmore. And he's kind of, he's like the Keon White in opposite, where he's probably plays better interiorly. He's probably better D tackle versus, say, like a 7-8-9 technique. But he can play a 7-8-9 technique. That's scary. Now, if you're the Patriots, you're looking at this. What do you think? Now we need a wide receiver. Xavier Legette's pretty good. Who else is returned? Who else? Lad McConkey's finally back to play. He might be somebody that I would really like. Antoine Wells, I'm not entirely sold on. Jalen Polk is good. I think Jalen McMillan's a little bit better, but that's fine. Still there. Malaki Moore looks great. Sturdivant is one of my favorite guys right now. Torrey Horton's solid. Troy Franklin's being disrespected, being ranked 87th. He's arguably a first-round talent, by the way. Roman Wilson's a solid second-round talent. You can get him at the 100s. That's insane. Jamari Trash in the 100s. DeCorey Clark. All these guys. You've got, to me, most of these guys first, possibly a first. So it's about 4, maybe 5 first-round talents, and I would say the rest of the guys are solid seconds all the way down to almost the bottom here. Jacob Cowing's a little more of a slot receiver. Robert Lewis, I would say so. Probably around Julian Fleming, who's good. These guys are probably getting close to being third-round talents, but look at the number, 173. And I don't think that's crazy. I don't think that PFF has them wrong. It's just that the overall talent in this draft. Let's go down here. 75. He's good too. Like, these guys are good. Like, he's one of the best centers in a long time. Yeah. Yes. Good players. Still there. We're in the 170s. He's my, hope to get for guard. Oh my gosh, do I love this guy. Probably, second or third best center in the whole... The second or third best center is at 130. He's good. Raheem Sanders, probably a second-round running back talent at 136. He's almost as good as Jerzan, who's a first-round talent, his teammate. He's good. Lathan Ransom's a solid safety. I mean, you're going to get Ricky Pearsall in the 145? Give me a break. Cole Bishop, probably a second or third round talent. It's going to be there at 148. Lockie Moore, crazy. So, what do we do? Gene Bell, tight end. That's like one of my favorite guys. Jeez, it's just nuts. Nuts. Wait. Jordan Birch is at 158. Wow. I don't think you guys realize how deep this draft class is. It's just absurd. Absurd. So I think that makes me say I'm just going to take Riley Leonard. You take a quarterback. Tyler Guyton at right tackle would be nice. I haven't picked any offensive talent yet. One of the best guards in a long time. Wouldn't hate him. I think I actually might go with that, getting Tyler, making sure that we have another right tackle. Kieran's really good, by the way, Yale guy. I'm glad that PFA is recognizing that he's there. His other teammate, Mendoza, is actually pretty good, too. What do we do? What do we do? Too many good problems to have. Can pick up an edge player later on. Still pick up in the right tackle. So let's see if we can get like some offensive talent here. I think we go Sturdivant, or do we go to Bullard? Is there any other safeties in here? No. Oh yeah, here, Barron's in there. Oh wow, Byron Murphy II's in here. Yikes. Jeez. All right, I'm gonna do that. Just so you guys don't flip out that I'm not drafting any talent, offensive talent. So you've done, in this case, you've kind of done a little bit of both, right? You've addressed Riley Leonard, could be a starting QB, getting him in the second round. But you've addressed the issue of offensive line. You've got a good wide receiver. I would, trust me, in 5, 6, 7, there's more wide receivers for me. And then also you got Jaheim Bell, which they're going to say it was overdrafted. This guy could be a second round pick. I'm picking him up in day 3. Absurd. I'd be surprised if he makes it to day 3. Point being, that was a good draft, right? So let's blast through a few other ones. Let's just do this quick. Now, let's do this idea, which is if we trade back. I don't know if they do that much, unless they really wanted Olu. Yeah, let's do it. Let's just do it. Also to prove the point of like we can get some. I can show you. That'll help us out because then we can get some more picks to see what we can pick up. So what did we miss? A good tackle. Do I want Graham Barton or do I want Roma Dunze or Cameron Kitchens or Kalen King, Amika Ibuka? I mean, I would keep probably doing this to be honest with you, but let's just do one trade. That's it. I think you go that way. It's a little bit bigger and heftier. We can pick up quicker guys later on. You could still do this. And you can do that. Patrick Paul's a monster. Physically one of the best tackles. Chris Braswell, I love this guy. I was hoping he was going to be like under the radar. He's not anymore. It's out that the guy's a beast. How's this going? Should we notice how we're in the 3rd round and a 2nd round talent is still on the board? We're at 70 and this is 56. What other quarterbacks are still here? Spencer Rattler, Joe Milton. I'll do that one next time. Okay, so we do. So let's do the Uche issue. Still should probably address a safety now. No, Makuba. So Makuba plays corner and safety. Am I really gonna pass on Kira Magaji with all these guys? Yes, I am. I'm gonna get Makuba. Michael Hall Jr. is probably looking to be another Micah Parsons, but people can pass on him. Go ahead. 107. I'm trying to do this quick, guys, so I'm not really doing like. He showed up. Yeah, we can still pick up Cooper. Junior Colson sitting around. That might not be a bad idea. David Cohen. Do Junior Colson and then So there's the linebackers. Well, PFF is not liking this. But you can say we're addressing issues. All these guys are solid players. Obviously, we don't know if they're going to be great in the NFL. But these aren't bad picks. And I'm not getting lucky. I mean, there's a few of these repeats in here. But most of these guys are different from last time. Let me try to do this and still show you that you don't have to pick these guys to be home runs, right? Let's do one more. I'm going to save this one. Let's do a few speed runs, right? Just showing you how quickly, like, that's a definite. Boom. Let's not pick a quarterback right away, right? Let's not go for the second round here. Can I get Barrett Carter here? He's really good too. Oy. You guys are not making this easy. I think JT's probably a better option here. 71. I'm going to pick Sturdivant again, probably. You know what? No, let's do something different. Actually, do we do offensive line? Take Cedric Van Pran? No, probably Zach Center wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah, let's just... This isn't me struggling to find somebody good. This is me trying to make a decision on who I'd rather have. And it's hard. Wow. These guys probably aren't... Well, some of these guys are probably not going to come out this year if they don't have to. They'll stay another year with their NIL deals and all that. I like Joe Milton better. He'd at least make everything very interesting. Not bad. Olu. Let's go with Shador. Kingsley. Perfect. Probably will be... I think he'll get close to being a first-round draft pick by the end. Make note of that. He's in the 70s right now. I'd see him being possibly a first, maybe early second. What else we need to pick up? Oh, Jamari Thrash. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's a good one, right? Got your wide receivers, got your 2 tackles that you need. These are like, let's just do another absurd one. Let's go with this. Johnny Wilson. Ooh, not. Let's do. Well. No. This will be one that might be actually viable if it's there. I'm not just picking the first guy. I would pick him if he was available still. Seems like this is an odd one. Max Melton, maybe. Smail Mondoon's not bad either. 2 wide receivers? Why not? Pick up Thrash again. He's a transfer this year, I think. Where did he come from? I thought he was a possibility last year. I'm pretty sure he transferred to Louisville. Where was he at last year? I think, yeah. But even this, picking this up, totally worth it. Pick up some tackles later on. Could we go, yeah, like Joe Alt. I'll take Joe Alt right off the top. I think I'm getting the idea here, right? Just taking almost the best available player. And it wouldn't be useless. Again, doubling up on offensive tackles. I wouldn't hate it. Any other way to go around this? Seems like we're getting a lot of the same. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, because they're barely going back. What would you give me for it? What? I guess so. Easy. Morgan's one of the best technical tackles in the league, or they'll probably be in the draft this year. Byron Murphy. Pick up another. Probably should pick up a corner. I have to look at him a little bit more before I make a decision on that one. Michael Hall Jr. That's a big drop. Jackson McKinley is good too. He's higher on my board than 74, so I'm gonna have to go with Jackson actually. Devondre Sweat should be in there, but I think he might go ahead of him. Edge player. I think he has the most sacks, I think, thus far in the season in FBS, by the way, Kamara from Colorado State. Not bad. I'll do one last one. If you've made this far, thank you. Let's just do that. Trade back. Oh, we're gonna miss out on people. Nope, you're not. Would I take Dallas Turner? No. I think you'd have to go this. Kingsley here. Jaheim, or maybe take Will Shipley. I still like Jaheim better, probably, for us. I think running backs, because next year the free agency class in the NFL in running backs is going to be quite interesting. So I think the running backs in the draft will probably be moved back even more than they're graded. Talking about fixing the offense. So I'll end it there. I know this is a really long one. I apologize for it. And, but I think maybe I did pick a lot of the guys I like. But you can see that I was having at moments struggling to decide when to go with. And it wasn't because, oh no, we're running out of options of like what we needed. I mean, no, I was not struggling to find draft targets at all. If this is what we get this year, I don't know how happy I'd be. I doubt it, but you know what? I look at this. And again, go back to all the other ones. If I took all the ones, I didn't save all of them. I should have, shoot. But if we were to do that, I only saved a few. If we were to get any of those, I'd be happy. I was okay with, I was pretty happy with last year's draft. But this year, this is just a few for, I got some extra trade. But the ones that are just 4 straight picks, oh my gosh. That's not considering adding in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. And I'm not getting bad grades. I mean, I know PFF is because I'm picking ones that they like, which I like as well, but geez. Anyway, so for those who requested me to go through some of the draft, here you go. The take home that I'm trying, the take home message for all of you is there should be plenty of quarterbacks. The big concern would be like, hey, what happens if Caleb or Drake or some of these other guys don't come out? Yeah, then we'll be in trouble. But so everybody else that's looking for a quarterback, and then things will get really interesting. But even then, like, you can take out a few of the running backs, a few of the wide receivers, quarterbacks that decide to go back because they get better NIL deals and things aren't looking good for them. This is still a deep draft. This is still enough for the Patriots to fill in some of these just absolutely huge holes and weak spots on offense and defense. So if I was the Patriots, I'd be trying to raise as much draft capital as possible at this point if they think that the year's going to go bad. But that's my opinion. I hope this was at least educational. You guys can see what I'm doing. If you have any questions about individual players, I'll try to get to them. I did some things on the offensive line already. I've done, obviously, some things on quarterback. I'm going to hold off on doing, maybe first, second, third round, fourth round, fifth round target videos, probably until we get closer to the draft. Not because I don't want to. It's more of the question is who is actually going into this draft now, because of the NIL deals. All the NIL deals are going to be a new aspect to the draft that is going to make things complicated, because you're going to have guys who are going to see the order of the draft and then say, I don't want to go to that team. I can just stay in school. I don't have to get my paycheck next year from the NFL. I can get from whatever, backdoor deals that now happen at the college level that make these guys, better paid than some of the starting quarterbacks in the league. So, that being said, I'll do my best to answer these things, but the situation's probably going to change as we get closer to May. Next video is probably going to be on Mac's throwing performance on against the Cowboys. That'll be interesting. I'll get to that as soon as I can. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.